Hello, I'm Paul Steedman, the Director for CPRE Sussex, the countryside charity for our beautiful part of the world. And I wanted to share with you some of the things that we've been achieving over the last year together. First of all, development planning, making sure that we get the right kind of development in the right places and not the wrong stuff in the wrong places. We have an incredible team of volunteers who work with our tiny staff all across Sussex, influencing local decision makers, influencing local plans that set the policies, and influencing specific planning applications to get the right kind of development where we do need it. And just to take two examples, in Horsham earlier this year, we worked with local communities to turn down an 800 property development on a greenfield site. And in Brighton and Hove, we made sure that councillors turned down an overdevelopment on a site that would otherwise be good for affordable housing, but this scheme was just way too big and would have affected the setting of our jewel in the crown South Downs National Park. We've also been working on planning issues where it's not just about overdevelopment or development on the wrong site, but it's development that would impact on the countryside in other ways, like climate change. We've worked with community campaigners at Broadford Bridge, an oil drilling exploration site, and we've persuaded councillors there to finally say no to developers who've wanted for many, many years to extend their permission for exploratory drilling. And councillors have now put their foot down, said enough is enough, and they've got to put the site back to how it was. We think that's a win for our countryside, but we think it's also a win for stopping fossil fuel exploration and the climate change that will damage our countryside for millennia to come. Similarly, on Gatwick Airport, the airport is trying to sneak in a second runway by the back door, and we've been there, our campaigners, trying to make sure that that gets refused. Our chair, Dan Osborne, has been speaking at hearings. Some of our trustees have been making sure that we get the right experts in front of planning inspectors hearing this application. And we've been involving the public too through petitions and letters to MPs. We've also been working on another key planning issue, that of sewage and polluted rivers. It won't have escaped your attention that sewage is finding its way not just into our rivers and seas, disgusting as that is, but onto our highways, into people's homes and gardens too. And so much of that is because of underinvestment over many, many years in our critical water treatment infrastructure. And the thing that could make that worse is if we just allow more and more and more homes to be developed without upgrades to the sewers and the water treatment works. So we've got a new campaign this year making sure that local planners insist on conditions on development that mean that water treatment works, that sewers have to get upgraded before development starts, so we aren't adding to the problem that's already there. It's not just about stopping the bad stuff though. We also really want to celebrate and educate people on the joys of the Sussex countryside. So last year in 2023 we launched our very first Countryside Day at Knepp, the home of rewilding, the beautiful nature site in West Sussex. And over 1,500 people of all ages, from all backgrounds, came and joined us. They enjoyed the nature, they enjoyed learning about the countryside from a whole range of stalls, kids' activities and more. And we're going again this year. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, go to our website and make sure that you're there for the second Countryside Day on the 7th of September 2024. But we don't just protect the countryside on planning and sewage. We don't just celebrate the countryside and educate people about the countryside through things like the Countryside Day and our talks and tours. We also actively improve the countryside, enhance it and make it better. And we've been busy planting new native hedgerows on a farm in the Ashdown Forest with a host of volunteers, including young people who had never been really into the countryside before. So it was a beautiful day out. We've left 400 metres of new beautiful hedgerow for nature and for the landscape. We don't just work in the countryside either. We work in towns and cities too, bringing nature and the countryside and green spaces into towns and cities. In Brighton and Hove, our extraordinary Plant Your Postcode project works with local communities to plant new trees, and this year we've commissioned new research from Treeconomics with the City Council that gives detailed mapping down to the individual street level, so you can see where new street trees might go, and we can work with the council and with communities to make it happen. We've also been engaging people in Brighton and Hove around the beauty of trees and the things that trees can do for us with our inaugural Tree Festival. We held an incredible photography competition with hundreds of entries, and this was one of the winners, a beautiful tree that symbolised for the photographer the hope of trees being reborn even after destruction by lightning. We've been working to make sure that the Sussex countryside and its towns and cities are also ready for the big energy transition that needs to come, making sure we get off fossil fuels and onto renewable sources of energy in the best way possible for the countryside. And from our point of view, one of the keys to that is maximising the amount of solar, PV electricity generation we can get onto roofs of existing buildings, on top of car parks and other grey spaces like that. And we've been working with the University of Southampton to do some incredible mapping that will allow us to see the potential for rooftop PV on every rooftop right the way across Sussex. And that way we can campaign to maximise the amount of solar PV we have on rooftops and minimise the amount we need to put on our green fields. So here you can see some of the mapping coming to life, the bright pink areas highlighted, potentially big roofs with lots of scope for putting solar panels on to generate lots of clean green electricity for Sussex. And our campaign is bearing fruit too. The talk of rooftop revolution seems to have inspired this new government, and they are looking to make it easier and more attractive to put solar panels on rooftops, and we need to make sure that they really follow through on that and get as many panels as possible. We've been busy as well with the general election. It might have come as a little bit of a surprise to us, but we were ready, and we made sure that we got our key demands on climate, on nature and landscape, on making affordable housing in the countryside a reality, on getting the right kind of planning to make sure we get the right development in the right places. We made sure that our manifesto got in front of every single candidate standing in every seat across Sussex, and we built a tool to enable our members and supporters to email their candidates to and put their views about the critical issues for the countryside. And we've been following up with the successfully elected MPs from across Sussex. I'm delighted to say that very many of them are looking forward to meeting us and hearing our concerns. The thing I most wanted to say though is a big thank you. Thank you to you if you're a donor, you're a volunteer, you're a supporter, you're a member, or you work with us in some other way. It simply wouldn't be possible for us as an organisation with less than 2 full-time equivalent staff to do all that we do without your help. If you're not currently a member, maybe you're a newsletter subscriber, you're a supporter, but not yet a member, please could I encourage you to join, and you can do that on our website cpresussex.org.uk. It's only £5 a month, and it's not just your money that helps us do what we do, but by being a member it gives us much more weight with decision makers. The more members we have, the more MPs and councillors listen to our views. And finally, we really couldn't achieve all that we do, a tiny organisation but one with a mighty impact, protecting, celebrating and regenerating the beautiful Sussex countryside without the generous financial support of donors. This year we have been particularly blessed to be left 2 generous legacies by late CPRE members. And if you're thinking about the legacy that you would like to leave for the Sussex countryside and for future generations, please do visit our website at cpresussex.org.uk to find out how you can leave a donation in your will. Thanks again. I look forward to seeing you at one of our events, online or in person, during the next year, or to hearing from you by email. The support that you give really makes a huge difference, and we look forward to making sure that the Sussex countryside is there for you and everyone else to enjoy for years to come.